Greetings and salutations, and thank you for clicking on the video. Today I'm going to install Ubuntu Mate into a virtual machine and show you guys the process. I've done a lot of videos where I have installed Ubuntu, Linux Mint, and some other distros as well. But Ubuntu Mate is a little bit of a different animal, and it installs slightly differently. So I figured you guys would like to see that. Where we are in the process right now is that I have created an ISO image. So this would be like you downloaded the ISO image and put it on your DVD or your USB stick, and you had dropped it into the computer, the DVD drive, or plugged it into the USB drive, and you were getting ready to boot up for the first time. So this is my ISO file here, and it is connected virtually to this virtual machine. So let's go ahead and boot this thing up and we'll see what happens. And I have been using Ubuntu Mate on my old E-machine now for a few days. It's amazing. It's a great distro. I have had a few problems. I've run into a couple of crashes where the system will lock up, but that is to be expected since this is still in beta, and the official release date is not going to be till late in April. So they're still working out some issues. So whenever I run into one of those bugs, if I get one of those lovely messages that says, would you like to report this, I do. So that way I'm adding my input to the Ubuntu developers and the Linux Mate, or the Ubuntu Mate developers, and they know what's going on. Alright, so we're getting booted up here. And this is what you are presented with. Of course, this is running a lot faster since I'm doing it off a hard drive. If you are going to install this operating system on your computer, I would suggest that the first thing that you do is select Try Ubuntu Mate, or whatever flavor of Ubuntu it is that you're trying to install. And just make sure that everything works on your computer. Make sure the sound is working. Make sure that your video looks somewhat okay. You probably are not going to get tip-top video performance if you need to install video card drivers. And make sure that you have connectivity, especially if you're using Wi-Fi. And if everything checks out and looks good, then you can click Install from the desktop. There'll be an icon on the desktop. But in this case, we already know it works pretty good. So I'm just going to choose to install Ubuntu Mate. And we go to the first install screen, and it's asking me here whether I want to install updates and also whether I want to put third-party codecs into the system. This is what gives you MP3 playback and some other things. I'm not going to do that. If you were actually going to install this on a machine that you were going to use, then I would suggest going ahead and clicking those when you get ready to install. So let's continue here. And sometimes it takes a little while. And this virtual machine already has Ubuntu Mate installed, which is the reason why it's offering to install it alongside Ubuntu Mate. And what we're going to do is something else. I'm going to do my own partitioning here. I want to see how, the last time that I installed this, I just let it do it automatically. So we're going to do this ourselves. And I'm doing this mainly just to show you how you would do it, Okay, so I'm going to get rid of these partitions that are already here. Now we have all free space on the drive. So we click on the free space, and we'll get this lovely little tool. And the first partition we're going to create, I'm going to make it 512 megabytes. It will be primary. We'll choose ext2 for the file system. And we're going to make that the boot partition. This goes along with the video I posted a while back called Advanced Disk Partitioning for Linux. Some guy posted a comment and he said, well, what makes this advanced? Yeah, I realize I didn't set up any LVMs or RAID arrays in there, but for new users, it's pretty advanced to do your own partitioning. Alright, so we have our boot partition. Click on free space, and we're going to set up a swap partition. And for this machine, I'm going to go ahead and just make it 2048. I have the memory set here, I think, to about 1.5 gigabytes. So that should be plenty for a virtual machine. If you were doing it on a real machine, it would depend on how much memory you had in the system already. If it's 4 gigabytes or under, go ahead and give it a 4 gigabyte swap space. If it's 4 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes, give it a little bit more than whatever memory's in the machine. So, like you could put in 4100 for 4 gigabytes, for 5 gigabytes, 5100. And when you get up to around 8 gigabytes, you have the option at that point of making the swap space much smaller. If you're ever going to use Hibernate or you want the sleep functions to work properly, you may have to go ahead and allocate all the space as much as your memory is, simply to make those functions work properly. You can give that a try one way or the other. But if you have over 8 gigabytes of memory in the machine, chances are it's never going to swap. Make that a primary partition. And scroll down this lovely list here till we get to swap area. It's almost hidden. And there we go. If this was a larger drive, I would go on and create a home folder here. Actually, I would actually do boot, and then I would do the system partition, and then I would do swap, or then I would do the home folder. But since this is such a small drive, I'm just going to put all of the system files into one partition. So here's where our Linux distribution and all of our home folder files will live. And just use the rest of the disk. Looks good. We will install now. It confirms our partitioning scheme. Look that over. It looks good to me. I'm using ext2 for the boot partition because it does not have a journal, which means that reads and writes will be faster, and it's a simpler file system. So that's why I'm doing it that way. Alright, we can go ahead and drag that up here and maybe center this a little better on the screen. Okay, it did pick the right time zone. Eastern Time, US, that's where I am. I think it took my mouse click. There we go. Alright, that looks good. I speak English. And I have a regular standard keyboard here. Alright, so let's give it a name. Give the computer a name. And we'll put in a super secure password. I always require these systems to ask for my password at login. Just makes things run a lot smoother. It will put that password in a keyring for a lot of things that you want to do once you get the system booted up. And so therefore it won't ask for your password when you open up your email and things like that. I've had that happen in the past. So go ahead and just give it to it right up front, and then you'll be cool. It's also a little bit more secure especially if it's a laptop or something like that. You don't want somebody to just be able to pick it up, turn it on, and get into your stuff. So this will take a little while for this to install. It won't take quite as long as it would if I was actually using a real DVD drive, because we're installing from a file, but the system does go out and download a few things. So what we're going to do here is pause the video while this is taking care of its business, and when we are ready for the next step, I will come back and we will continue. Alright, that only took a couple of minutes. And we are ready to do the first boot here on our Ubuntu Mate install. Let's go ahead and do it. Now we get into the fun part of the video. If you've seen my other videos where I install things, I haven't really done anything too terribly different here. The difference between Ubuntu Mate and pretty much every other Linux distribution I've played with is the fact that what you would ordinarily have to do now is go in, attach a bunch of PPAs. You'd have to struggle to get your drivers installed, all that kind of stuff. And the Ubuntu Mate team has made it incredibly easy to do this without having to go through all of that. I think maybe this thing is crashed. Yeah, this is something that happens in virtual machines pretty much every time you go to restart a Linux distro at this stage when you're installing. It locks up. So let's go in here real quick. I want to check my settings and make sure that the disk image is no longer attached, and it's not. So we can go ahead and get rid of that. Alright. And now we should be able to boot into our new installation for the first time. I had a very nice comment on the last video I posted about Ubuntu Mate from the head developer, Martin Wimpress. And he has reminded me to show you guys some features here as we roll along with this video. So I'll do that for sure, Wimpy. I'll get it in here. I just really think that these guys have blown the doors off the Linux ecosystem with this particular release. There's a lot of little tweaks and tools that they have added that just make this completely awesome. Alright, so let's get signed in. What, you don't like my password? Demonstration ends, cannot sign in. One more time. I know what I did wrong. When I typed in the password, I actually typed in something different than I thought I had typed in. It wouldn't be a video, it wouldn't be a Joe Collins Easy Linux video if I didn't mistype something along the way. Alright, gang. So we are logged in. And like I said, at this point with any other distribution of Linux, the first thing that we would do is start installing software after we got everything updated, and it would be a matter of, oh, well, I need this from this PPA, and I need that from that PPA, and I got to get the drivers installed, and open up a terminal, that sort of thing. You don't have to do any of this with Ubuntu Mate. The first thing that I want to do, though, before we get into that, is I'm going to go to the control center here, and we'll click on Appearance. I want to make these fonts a little bigger so they're easier for everybody to see, including me. Alright, so click on Fonts, click on Details, see it's set to 96. I'm going to make it a little bigger. I'm going to set that to 110. Yeah, that looks good. And close. And close that. Very nice. And we will make it so it fills the screen. Right now we have no video drivers installed for VirtualBox, so we're going to do that shortly. So click on Getting Started, and the first thing that it's going to want me to do is download the updates. So let's go ahead and do that now. This may be a little bit of a rougher update than you would ordinarily see. It might want to do it in 2 passes, simply because this is a beta version. They've been sending down a lot of updates, and if you are going to beta test for Ubuntu, then you need to be prepared to install the updates every time that you open up the machine. So yes, that's exactly what's happened here, is that it's telling me that it wants to do a partial upgrade. If you get this, if you're actually going to run the beta version, go ahead and install the first batch of updates, then run the updater again, and that will fix that problem. So basically, I think what it is that they have a set of updates that needs to be installed first before the next set of updates can go in, which is unusual for Ubuntu, but remember, we are in a beta situation here. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and pause the video while this gets its updates together, and we've already gotten an error message here. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'll be back when I get all of the updates installed. Alright, I got the updates installed, and it actually took 3 tries. First of all, I just clicked continue and installed the updates that were there. Then I ran it again, and it came back and it said that was still prompting me to do a partial upgrade. So I went ahead and did that, and then I actually ran it a 3rd time after restarting the computer after the partial upgrade, and this is what I have now, that all of the software is up to date on this machine. Getting Ubuntu Mate updated once it is officially released will not be that complicated, simply because of the fact that we are looking at a beta version here. So once you get to this point and everything is nicely upgraded, the next thing that we're going to do is I want to install that codecs package. This will make sure that I get all of the really groovy codecs I need to look at online content, listen to music, watch videos, and that sort of thing. So we're going to stick with it while it does this. This shouldn't take too terribly long for this to do. And it is going through and downloading everything that it needs. There we go. Okay, software is up to date. Everything's good to go. Gave us a little flash there to let us know what it had done. So we're done with that part of the installation process. Drag this up here, make it a little easier to see. Next thing that we need to do is go ahead and get our drivers installed. And I'm going to click back in there. Go to drivers. First thing you want to do here is install the firmware package to make sure that you have all of the available firmware for your computer, if there is any such firmware. That's all done. Alright, the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to install the drivers. Should be a couple of sets of drivers for this particular installation. One will be for the video and the guest editions for VirtualBox, and the other one will be for the Intel processor. So let's go ahead and install that. And we'll come down here and install the code, microcode pass-through for the processor. Apply changes, and it asks for the password. And this is going a lot easier now that I know what password I actually put in the system. When I was doing that first time around, I put one password in, and between the time that I paused the video and came back, I forgot which one I put in. You'd be surprised. I work with a lot of people through Easy Linux who are new to Linux, and when we get to that process and I'm stepping them through it, I'll tell them, okay, create a username, create a password, and I usually don't ask for what password they put in. I give them a little advice on the username, that sort of thing. And what's really funny is that you'd be amazed how many people do that and then forget what password and what username they actually put in the system. It's funny. Okay, our drivers should be installed, and to make them take effect, we will need to restart the computer. And we'll go ahead and maximize this screen. Just scroll up to get to the button here so I can restart. And when it comes back up, we should have full screen here and accelerated graphics, which we have not had up to this point. And then we will continue with more settings and goofing around and get this machine set up in a cool way. And you guys who have watched my videos before have noticed that I have not installed GDebi package installer. I've not installed Synaptic Package Manager. Put in that right password. There we go. And it's not really happy about those drivers for whatever reason. Or it's telling me they're there or whatever. Let's see if they're working. Yep, they're working. So I'm not going to worry about that message. Now, here is something that Martin Wimpy, who is the head developer of Ubuntu Mate, reminded me to tell you guys about. You see up here where it says subscribe? Alright, we need to do that. What this is going to do, it's going to set up a PPA for this welcome screen and the software boutique so that as new software becomes available for Ubuntu Mate 1604, it will update when you run updates on the machine and you'll have them listed. Like, for instance, right now, we don't have access to Simple Screen Recorder, which is the screen recording software that I usually use to make these videos. The developer of Simple Screen Recorder ordinarily waits a little while to release that. He waits until after the new version stabilizes, so that should show up a week or two after Ubuntu 1604 is released, and I'll know about it because it will appear here in the software boutique. So that's the next place that we ought to go, is to the software boutique. We ought to get some software for the machine. I have not installed Synaptic Package Manager because I don't need to, because pretty much everything that I need to make this machine totally usable is available in this wonderful application. So, let's look in Internet first. I'd like to have a system-wide flash player, so I'm going to click on that to install. It's going to go out and update the cache. Make sure that it's got all the latest information. and then we can install that software. By the way, the reason why it's probably complaining about the VirtualBox drivers, although they appear to be working, is the VirtualBox drivers that it installed were version 5, and this is actually VirtualBox version 4.3 running on Ubuntu 14.04. So if I was actually going to use this machine, I would probably go in and install it manually. But if your host system, if you're running VirtualBox 5 and it's up to date, you're not going to have any, that issue should work perfectly well. But this works well enough for the demonstration, so I'm not worried about it right now. So what other software might we want? We've got Chromium here. I definitely want to install Google Chrome. So let's go out and get that. Most of you know that Google Chrome requires that you go to the Google site and download their deb file and use, used to be the Software Center, but that's gone in Ubuntu 16.04, or GW Package Manager to install that. That works quite well, but it's several steps in the process. People that are new to Linux and are kind of unfamiliar with that process might have a difficulty doing that. And so therefore, the Ubuntu Mate folks have made this a one-click deal. So while that's doing that, we can go on and continue to go get software that we could possibly need. Let's see what else is here that we might want. Definitely want a Java plugin, so let me go ahead and get that. So you don't have to wait for one thing to install. It's not a one-at-a-time deal. Go ahead and put that here. It's going to go ahead and queue them up. And let's see if there's anything else. Not on this page, not right now. I could come back and get some more later. Well, let's see. What do we want for games? My kids love to play Minecraft. So, just for fun here, let's go ahead and install Minecraft. Not that they will actually be using this virtual machine. I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. And so that's getting queued up and ready to rock and roll. Can move that out of the way. And let's go to System Tools. You know I gotta have BleachBit. Stick those over there. I guess maybe that's enough from here for now. And I could just sit here and go through all of these different lists of software and pick what I wanted and install the software and get the system spun up very quickly. If you don't find all the software that you want, well, you can install AppGrid, which is a nice installer application. Or you could put the good old Ubuntu Software Center on. It's still here if you wanted it. Synaptic Package Manager, which is my software installer of choice, is available. No problems there. But I'm not going to install anything else. And also, of course, you always have access to a terminal. And they have the lovely Tilde terminal installed here, so you can jump right in. Now, if I would run a terminal command to try and install something right now, it wouldn't work because this other installer is working, so I'm not going to do it. But if I wanted to put, let's say, HTOP or some other package on the machine, I could do it manually from there as well. So we don't have to sit around and wait for this software to install. The Google Chrome, the Google servers are running slow today. I had to do an update on my other machines this morning. Some updates came in. Actually, I got some to do on this machine when I'm done with this video, and that's probably Google Chrome. And I guess everybody's updating because they're really, really slow today. But let's play around with the desktop a little bit while we're waiting for that to happen. Right now it looks like Ubuntu 10.10 Maverick Meerkat. That's the way the Ubuntu Mate desktop looks when you first boot it up. I'm going to go over here to look and feel. I'm going to go to Mate Tweak. Here's where we can choose our compositor. I think that I'm going to choose the Marco compositor with Compton. Window Manager was changed. That seems to be the one that works the best. Compiz is nice and you get more effects, but it slows things down. And we'll go to Interface here. And I think just for fun, we will enable the advanced menu. And I'm going to choose to use Redmond, which is reminiscent of a traditional Microsoft desktop. And it redid all that in the background without me having to do a thing. So I have a new desktop layout. And let's see, what else can we choose? I'm going to go ahead and enable the indicators. I haven't done this yet on my other install. I've left it with the Ubuntu Mate theme and have not enabled the indicators because that's a very low resource machine. But here, if I was installing this on bare hardware, this laptop, yeah, this machine's got plenty of juice. It would be able to do all that for me. And so I get a very nice looking Mate menu with a search down here, and now I have a very tight looking operating system. What else can we change? Well, need to go to the menu down there instead of up there, first of all. Control Center. I'm in control. Let's see. Let's play with the theme a little bit. We can choose one of these lovely themes. Let's see what this looks like. Not a huge difference. If you like that. Got high contrast. We got a nice dark theme here. Let's use the dark. Yeah, let's do the dark theme. I don't know what. We're going to open up a browser here and see how that works with the browser. In the past, sometime you get bit with these because the dark themes don't integrate quite right with some applications, but we're going to give this a shot. Let's change the background here. See what we got for backgrounds. Quite a few to choose from. We'll choose one. Ooh, I kind of like that with a dark theme. Looks a bit industrial. That's cool. We've already done the font. There's some other settings in here. This is good. This will get us started. Yeah, I like that. I like to have a dark background and then have the icons. Everything just seems to pop there. All right. Looking for a particular tool. There it is. One of my favorite tools, the GNOME Disk Utility. And I'm going to come in here, go to Drive Settings. and enable the write cache. And yes, I do this in virtual machines, and I do it with SSDs. Makes the system run a bit faster. Password. That's done. This is also the tool that I used to create a disk image to install this from in this video. I had burned it to a DVD for installing it on hardware, and I had deleted the original disk image that I downloaded. So what I was able to do was use this program to create an ISO image of the disk, the DVD that I'd burned, and I booted this machine off of it to do this video. Very useful. So you can take your DVDs and you could your data DVDs and things like that and create ISOs. Don't think it works quite well with like movies or something like that, but data disks, yeah. And you can do, you can do all kinds of things. You can create an ISO of a drive, and then you can restore it to another drive. Lots of things you can do with Ubuntu disks. So that's where you would do it, is create ISO image. All right. Let's go ahead and close the control center. No, wait a minute. There's something I want to show you guys. Okay, we'll go to power management, see what that's set up to do. I don't want it to ever put the screen to sleep. This is a virtual machine. You can choose whatever you want. Alright. Look at the time and date. There was a fella who commented on a video I did not too long ago and said he was having a hard time dealing with this. This just allows you to turn the NTP servers on and off here. That's all that does. And we can right click on the clock and set up our clock preferences here. He was having a hard time with this. I don't think he was actually using the same version of stuff that I was, though, when he sent me that comment. If we go in here, yeah, the fan is spun up. I bet you guys can hear that. That's because it's installing in the background. And let's add a location. That's from my installation process. Okay, let's do that one more time. Yep. I'm in Portsmouth, Virginia, United States. And it fills in all the information. And I gave it that information because I want to have a little weather icon next to the clock. And I want my temperature in Fahrenheit. And my wind speed in miles per hour. That's done. I think all of our software is installed. Yep, our software is installed. And if this was a production machine, I'm pretty much ready to go. Ubuntu Mate comes with a complement of useful software already. We got VLC Media Player and Rhythm Box to play music. So we can take a look at the software installed here. Let's see, under accessories, we got backups, disks, character map. We've got a calculator, which is called Galculator here or whatever. Text editor. Not much under games. I did install Minecraft. Here's our graphics. Got Eye of Mate, Shotwell, Simple Scan. Under Internet, Firefox, Google Chrome, which I installed. HexChat, Thunderbird Mail, Transmission for torrents. Office is the entire LibreOffice suite. And a document viewer. Under Sound and Video, Brasero for working with optical discs, DVDs, and CDs. Rhythmbox, Sound. VLC Media Player for your media player. This will play videos. This is probably the best video player that you can get on Linux. And it's also it's a general all-around media player. VLC is probably the best, so I'm glad to see that installed here. GUVC View, which is webcam software. File manager in Mate is Kaja. That looks nice. Don't know whether I like those black the black text under the icons though. What I want to do is log out and log back in real quick. I'm going to see if it fixes that. Sometimes when you change these themes, what happens is it doesn't all take effect. You have to log out and log back in to make it take effect. So let's see if that changed. Still getting those VirtualBox error messages. That's okay. It seems to run. Nope, that's the way it's supposed to look. Alright. I don't know. I'm sure you could change that if you wanted to. Change the theme. Okay, so what I wanted to do was open up a browser and see what that looks like with the dark theme. That's not too bad, I suppose. That's Firefox. And it changed the text box in there, so that makes sense. What I find is sometimes on like Facebook or YouTube or something like that, where you would type in a comment, the text color will be wrong. So you get the background being white and the text color is white or very close to it. It's almost impossible to see. But that looks pretty good. Looks like they anticipated that. Alright, so let's open up Google Chrome. See what that looks like. It's not in favorites yet. So we'll go to Internet, go to Google Chrome, right click. Show in my favorites, please. Go to favorites. And stuck it down here at the bottom. I want it up here with the rest of these. So easy to work with this Mate advanced menu. So I'll put that right there. And I never use the Internet Messenger. We can just go ahead and remove that from favorites. Let's launch Google Chrome and see what that looks like. Yeah, I'll make it my default browser. Looks good so far. No thanks, just get me to the front page. Oh, well that's nice. Unexpected. So we do have a nice looking dark theme in Google Chrome. Cool. So now you guys pretty much get the gist of how this is working, and it's just amazing. While you've been watching this video, I have spun myself up a totally, completely functional installation of Ubuntu Mate, which is ready to take care of all kinds of everyday tasks. I added a few bits of software, but not a whole lot. Got me a couple of good browsers. Thunderbird Mail is here. There are other things that I could show you. I could go through the settings, but it's pretty much self-explanatory and takes care of itself. There was one thing I wanted to look at and show you guys. So I guess maybe what I'll do here is go to All Applications, and we want to go to System Tools. It's not in that particular. Let's do a search for it. There we go. Users and groups. Here's where you can edit your account. So you can change things about yourself. Looking to see where you added your picture was what I wanted to look at, actually. So let's see if there's an about. Yes, there is. Here's where you would add your picture. Let's see if they give you some to choose from. Yes, they do. So let's choose a picture here. Of course, I'm usually very vain, and I put a picture of my own face. And when I set this up for other people, I use actual pictures of them. Any little square picture should do the trick. If not, you can open up an image editor and do that. I don't like any of them so far. There's a soccer ball. Oh, I like that. Yeah, palm tree. So let's open that. I can change my password here. Cool. So we are completely and totally set up and ready to go. Now, you probably, after you've gotten used to the system for a while, you want to have this welcome screen go away. So just uncheck that. And then if you want to get it back, you can just get, let's see here. Just look for welcome. There you got it. And it will come back. So that is Ubuntu Mate. We have set up this system. We have customized it. We have made it all work. And you will notice that through this entire process, I have not opened up a terminal, nor have I recommended you to open a terminal. You don't need to, unless you want to. So my hat is off to the Ubuntu Mate development team. They have pretty much turned the entire Linux ecosystem on its ear with this particular distribution of Linux. And I am still testing this. It is still in beta stage. Everything that I've tested has worked. And in the past, I have had problems like, for instance, getting Wine programs to run correctly with the Mate desktop. Not this time. They work. I have not run into any major bugs or problems. Yes, the system has run into some system problems that has more to do with the Ubuntu folks getting the underpinnings of the system right before they do the official release. They've changed out the kernel several times and lots of system components. But the actual operation of the desktop itself has been seamless. And what is probably most likely going to happen, unless I run into something that I can't deal with, is that this is going to be my de facto distro of choice for my own personal computers. And just because, number one, it is so easy to set up, number two, it is so easy to maintain, and it will pretty much take care of itself. And I have to admit that I have never been a huge fan of the Mate desktop. I've always liked XFCE a little bit better. But Mate has improved to a state now where it is amazing. And with the tools that they have added to this distribution, between having this really stable Mate environment and the solid Ubuntu base and the welcome screen in the software boutique that cuts through a lot of crap and makes it very easy to get a machine running. And this is the gateway drug to Linux. This will be a gateway drug to Linux for a lot of new users. And I'm actually using Martin Wimpress's own words there, because in an interview one time I heard he was saying that he would be quite happy if Ubuntu Mate became the gateway drug to Linux. And it really is, because this is easy to get installed, this is easy to get set up, and it's a lot of fun to work with. This is a fun operating system. It makes it a joy. So, thanks for watching the video, gang. I know this was kind of a rambling long video, but some of you really dig this, and I thought you would like to see the details of the process. Do check out freedompenguin.com. Lots of great articles up there. Matt Hartley just posted one about the fallout of what happened with the Linux Mint when they got hacked. Their website got hacked, and he goes through, and it's a very interesting article, just posted today. Do check that one out. Also check out Easy Linux on the web and Easy Linux on Facebook. And if you do, please be sure to give it a like. Let's go ahead and log out here and see if our picture shows up in the logout screen. Of course, I know it will. Awesome. Yep, there it is. So, that is your in-depth look at Ubuntu Mate. This is not an official review, it's just an installation and a run-through. Somewhere down the road, I'm going to do an official review. I'll shut that down. And it might take it a second or two to do that. All done. And I will turn off the screen capture software and wave bye-bye.